My name is Gary Helton. I live in Southern California. I have a body-focused repetitive behavior. Specifically, I identify kind of as a skin picker, who suffers from dermatillomania. Occasionally, that might involve trichotillomania if part of getting to that skin problem involves a hair. I'll either use my fingernails or typically a tweezers to try and get the hair out. But primarily, I suffer from dermatillomania. Many years ago, growing up, I used to be a chronic nail biter. I would chew my fingernails down to the quick and they would bleed, and I would say to myself, why, oh, why did I do that? I knew it was going to hurt. And I could never figure out why. I had a sister and a brother who also participated in that kind of nail biting ritual. And sometimes I thought, well, it's anxiety. If I'm watching a scary movie, I'm more prone to do that. But I noticed that I was doing it at other times that I wasn't watching movies. I used to always think that I was a perfectionist. I wanted things to be just right. And I was in a job as a flight attendant where fairly good looks were kind of the order of the day. And so I certainly wouldn't go to work if I had a great big old scab on my cheek or whatever. I would cover it up at the very least. But for the most part, I tried to avoid doing anything that would cause me to be embarrassed around the public. So I wasn't openly doing skin picking at that time. The other part about perfection, or this feeling of perfectionism that I thought I had, was I would survey my skin. I would just feel myself. And if there was a tiniest bump, for example, underneath the skin, like a subcutaneous bump, I would want to get to the bottom of it. And I would scratch and scratch and scratch until I got that to the bottom of it, to the root of the problem, as one of my therapists used to say. The therapist and I were discovering is that whatever the trigger might be, what I was finding is that whenever I picked or pulled my hair or whatever, I was in control. And that maybe it was a control issue, and that I might not be able to handle that over there, but this I can handle, and I can control this. Almost as if I didn't have any control over other things in my life. The medical system that I was in said, okay, your time with this therapist is up. So you'll need to see another therapist now. Well, eventually I found a therapist, God bless her, because she knew about dermatillomania. She knew about skin excoriation. She knew about trichotillomania. Her child had trichotillomania for children. So she was well aware of the best type of therapy for it, which was CBT. She gave it a name, dermatillomania, which I never ever had heard of before. I knew what I was doing. I was picking my skin. I didn't know there was something called a skin picking disorder. At about the same time, I learned about TLC. Thank God, because through them, I learned that there were support groups. And one of the support groups just happened to be a men's BFRB support group for body-focused repetitive behavior. But we quickly learned that the men have their own issues dealing with BFRB. And so it was a very, very comfortable feeling. And we've had as many as a dozen people on calls from all over the world: England, Malta, Ireland, every part of the US. It seemed as if all you had to do was to let people know that the group exists, and it would just grow on its own because everybody else was in the same boat. I never knew that this was a thing that other people had. All you have to do is to take part in one of those calls as a person with BFRBs to realize I have found my tribe. I can identify with these people. They have helpful tips and hints that have worked for them, or they share things that have not worked for them that might work for you instead. After my first support group meeting, I decided, I'm 70 years old. Other people have this stuff going on. I'm going to come out online. And so I went on Facebook, and most everybody already knew I was gay, but I came out as a person with a BFRB, and I explained it to everybody in this post. And I said, basically accept me as I am, or, screw you, because this is what I've got. And there are probably others of you out there who have similar things and don't realize that there's a name for it. Sure enough, the emails started to come back to me from friends, from people I hadn't ever met, from family members who said, "You're not alone, Gary. I've got this too. And thank you, because I never knew that support groups existed. And so I'm going to be going to TLC online and finding out more about this, and I'm going to join." And I just thought, wonderful. I mean, that's what it's all about, is sharing information and try and get to the bottom of why we do what we do. I began to contribute to TLC. They were kind enough to find a scholarship for me to attend the first virtual conference, but then I learned so much from it. I was so thankful for what I had learned that, I felt compelled in another way, compelled to give money, because we've got to have a way of educating people, doctors, specialists. My dermatologist didn't know what I was going through. She said, I've heard about that there are people who have this problem. I'm like, yeah. Give a little. Give something to TLC, because they are the group that is helping to bring this to the forefront, to help to educate doctors and specialists. Give generously, because just like with any other medical condition, the only way we're going to ever get to the root of it is through research, and research takes time, effort, money. Give them your financial support, because they're helping you in ways that you cannot imagine.